Good morning, grade 9s, and welcome back to Quarantine English with Mr. Fouché. So today we're going to go through two of the activities that you had to do at home. So one of those tasks. So we have already marked three of them. We marked the first one, which was a letter you had to do. The second one was a reported speech activity. And the third one was actives and passives, I believe. Now, task 4 was a language activity, and then task 5 was a comprehension activity. So we're going to mark these two. The other one that you have done, probably by the time you watch this, no, actually not, you'll be receiving a new one tomorrow. Okay, so that's latest worries. So yes, we've got these two that we'll deal with for now, and let's get started. So the first one is the language activity, which was task 4. Now, I'm going to read you the questions given to you, and I'll give you some answers, or at least explanations as to what you had to do for these. So the first question is, provide 2 examples of abstract nouns. So 2 examples of abstract nouns. Now, as you know, an abstract noun is something that is not tangible. You can't touch it, you can't see it, there's nothing you can use to sense these things. So some very common answers you could have given there was time. If you said an emotion, or you said emotions themselves, that's also a very good example of an abstract noun. It's quite an easy one. Most of you did quite well there. Then question 2 asks, provide an example of a compound noun. A compound noun is when you take 2 words and you put them together. They are usually 2 nouns, but it can be a noun and a verb, perhaps an adverb, who knows. And when you put them together, you create a new type of thing, a new idea, or a new word, so to speak. The very common one is rain and bow. If you put these 2 words together, then it becomes rainbow. Now, check always when you are doing these, never to make a space in between these 2 words, otherwise they are 2 words on their own. A compound noun is 1 word made up of 2. Okay, so rainbow is a very commonly used one. I did find some people writing down carpet, which is very interesting because technically, yes, car is one thing and pet is another. But these 2 things have nothing to do with the new word that they are creating. For instance, a carpet is a material that you walk upon, where a car has nothing to do with that and a pet has nothing to do with that. For that reason, it was marked incorrectly. The next one was quite interesting. You had to find 2 examples of polysemes. Now this is a term you will not be finding very often. It was something I added there just for a little bit of curiosity. So it basically is like a homonym. So a homonym is something where you've got 2 words, they're spelled identically, and they sound identically or identical, but they have different meanings. Now, the difference here is that a polyseme is something that has many various different meanings. So they are almost like the exaggerated effect of a homonym. Now, some examples that you can write for these were except, I'll actually write these down just so you can see what they are. So except, you've got others like, here we've got bed, bolt, and this one more, book. Okay, so each of those can be used in different ways, which means you will always need a sentence to explain what they mean. Okay, for instance, let's take bed. It can be a thing that you sleep upon. It can also be a bed of roses. It can be a riverbed. There are different ways of using that word, but they all are connected. Now here with book as well, you can be reading a book, you can be booking for an appointment. There are quite a few examples of those as well. But let's continue. We now get on to question 4. And here I gave you 5 words, indeed. 5 words, and you had to tell me what parts of speech each of them was. So we've got I love, we've got the English textbook. Okay, so there are our 5 words. And the first one is quite simple. I think most of you know what they are. I is a pronoun in this case. So a pronoun referring to the self here. The next one, which is love, caught many of you off guard. Because love is known as an emotion, and all of you probably think, oh, that means it must be an abstract noun. But in this sentence, it is not. In this sentence, it is actually an action, which means it's a verb, to love. Okay, so I love, I am doing something. So that was a verb. The is an article. If you wanted to be more specific, you could have said a definite article, but I was not too scrupulous when it came to these types of things. If you just said article, I accepted it. Then English here is what we can refer to as an adjective. It is adding to the word textbook, telling you what type of textbook it is. Many of you wrote down proper noun here, but in the context of this sentence, it is more closely linked to an adjective. And the last one here, which is textbook, is a compound noun because we've got 2 words, text, we've got book. If you put them together, you get a new thing, which is a textbook. And that was task 4 in its entirety. Now we can do task 5, which was your comprehension test. Now, this comprehension test was about the Nobel Prize, and I'm pretty sure most of you, even before reading this, have heard about Nobel Prizes. Many of you probably from the Big Bang Theory, which is not too bad of a place to find information about the Nobel Prize. But yes, let's talk more about it. So first of all, let's go through our questions. The first thing that I asked was to explain what the word annually means. This was question 1. So annually means yearly, so every year, which means that there is a Nobel Prize given in many fields, but only once a year. Number 2, provide the different fields in which a person can be awarded a Nobel Prize. Now here you will see it counts for 3 marks, and you could have given any of the following 5 words. The first one is chemistry, the second one, physics, third, literature, fourth is peace, fifth, physiology or medicine. Okay, so it's either physiology or medicine. You couldn't have added both of them. So any 3 of those, and you would have gotten full marks for that question. Next we've got quote an entire sentence, and I also tell you it's in paragraph 2 that states the reason why 4 people were not permitted to accept the Nobel Prize, which is quite shameful. It must have been a horrible thing for these people. But the sentence you were looking for is the second sentence in paragraph 2, which reads the following. 4 Nobel laureates were not permitted by their governments to accept the Nobel Prize. This sentence tells you that the government at the time where these people, in which country these people came from, did not allow them to receive the Nobel Prize for various political reasons. But now let's continue. Question 4. Who has received the most amount of Nobel Prizes, and provide the field in which this was achieved? So here it is actually an institution or a committee, and the answer, the International Committee of the Red Cross. Okay, they received it 3 times. And then we get on to number 5. Who was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize? This is Madame Curie. I think most of you might have heard of this name before. She's quite famous. So Madame Curie was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize. She actually won it twice, I think. And then we get to the last question that we'll be talking about. During what famous event did the Nobel Foundation not award any Nobel Prizes? This was during World War II. It's also the last thing you'll find in your text telling you about this fact. And there we have it, grade 9. That's all we'll be doing in this lesson for today. Next time we'll be working out of our textbooks again. And yes, I guess I'll see you then. Up until that time, stay safe and see you whenever I see you again. Goodbye.